Now we're going live. Hello and welcome to Aravaipa Trail Talk 67. We are back, and I am here today with my brother, Nick Coury, live from Telluride, Colorado. If you guys can hear us, please drop something in the chat. Let us know that we're coming through loud and clear, as we don't have our normal setup this week, as I'm out of state. So if you can do that, that would be awesome. We will be taking questions throughout the show, but how Trail Talk works is we're going to talk a little bit about Aravaipa Running stuff that's going on. We had a couple big races this weekend in Silverton, and then we're going to get all into the Hardrock 100. It is the third time that Nick and I are towing the line at Hardrock together, and we are both going for our sixth finishes. We just realized we were talking about this a second ago. So, but yeah, it looks like we can hear you. Hello from Australia. Love it. Oh yeah, we're coming in. They've got a static sound, they're saying. Okay, so that's not good. We are using a new system. The other thing is you could get your other mic if you want.
The big one?
And we could just set it in the middle?
Yeah, you do that.
Sound is no bueno. Okay, we are gonna...
Let me grab that and we'll see if that's better.
Oh, you know what? It's probably because we have these two mics going. Oh. So yeah, grab your other mic. Sorry guys, we're using a different system. Alright, we are going to switch our sound. Oh yeah, they say it's fixed because I shut off one of the mics. Is that just a USB one? Yes. Perfect.
How's that?
Hold on. Testing. All right.
Any better?
Can you guys hear us? I'm pretty sure you can. It looks pretty solid on our end. Troubleshooting on the fly. That is what we do best here. Anyways, if you guys can hear us, let us know. Give us a thumbs up in the chat. I know it takes a second for them to come through. Perfect. Money. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get on with the show. We are going to start with the races that happened this weekend over in Silverton. So we had the Silverton Alpine Marathon and 50K on Saturday, Kendall Mountain Run on Sunday. When was the first year that you came up for those races? Do you remember it all?
I mean, the first year that I came up here was 2008, but I don't remember because that's when Roger Rublik was putting them on.
Yeah, I don't think we were there that year, but I think the next year, because you weren't up here when we resurrected Silverton Alpine, were you?
Or not the first year.
Okay, so that was like me and Roger, because the history behind the Silverton Alpine Marathon is pretty cool. Emily Bear, who is a hard rocker, and she started pretty young, and she wanted to create more of a middle distance race. They had the Kendall Mountain Run was going on, and then they've had the Hardrock for a long time, and so she there's basically this perfect marathon loop in the center of the Hardrock course on dirt roads. And so she created this race in 2004. I think Carl Meltzer might have won the first year of it. And it happened a couple times, and then she moved away from Silverton. We brought it back in 2009. And we used to hold it in late August. So we would be here for Hardrock, and then we would come back. It didn't get great participation. And then we moved it to the weekend before Hardrock and aligned it with Kendall, and it kind of blew up. It's like the long and short of it. So anyways, I'm just talking about the history stuff. And then, anyways, we had a really great show this year. We had course records on the men's side in both the marathon and the 50K. Man, now I feel like I need to pull up this information. What is it, Willie?
Yeah.
Do you remember his last name?
I should know that, and I don't.
So we had... a really fast road guy. So Roots Running Project is like a training group out of Boulder area. He ran for them for quite a while. He's run a 2:14 marathon, and he's run a 61-minute half, that's like ridiculous fast.
Yeah,
like how
bonkers.
fast is that?
I mean, it's what, a couple minutes off the world record.
Yeah. So that's to say. So we had Willie Milam. He broke Eric Skaggs's record by 16 minutes. And this race has been around a while. And he ran a 3:05:30. He won by 13 minutes over Ryan Becker, who also broke the course record. But he just destroyed the field. He reminds me, I was telling a couple people, I was telling Skylar, it reminds me of like the trajectory of a Jim Walmsley or an Adam Peterman. He's like collegiate background, super fast on the roads, was part of like a running training group. And then he's kind of like got burnt out on that stuff. He just moved to Telluride, I think this year. And so he's like exposed to the big mountains, and it's like his potential is unlimited. Like if he can learn to run on the technical trails and he falls in love with running in the mountains, like anything could happen.
Yeah. Like
we could see this guy a year from now winning Western States. I don't know. Like you never know. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, we already got someone in the chat. Aid Station Fireball. Willie Milam is a Roots Running Project guy. Absolutely. So that was really cool to see. And then in the marathon, or the 50K, excuse me, we had Logan Moore out of Durango. I got to shout him out. He broke the 50K course record that was set by Ryan Kaiser a couple years back by a matter of seconds. I think 15 seconds or something. He's 19. He's a Nordic skier, and he's like volunteered at Hardrock. And you said it exactly on our run tonight. It's like Dakota Jones vibes. Like the local Durango kid is like getting into the sport, and it's like, I feel like he could tear it up. And the Nordic skiing is really interesting. Sophia Lockley, I think her name is. She just won the 26K at Broken Arrow. She's a Nordic skier as well. So I think they went to the same. She might have, actually, she did ski for the same school that he now skis for, because she's at like Utah State now or something. So it's kind of funny. Like it's a small world. These Nordic skiers, watch out. They're going to take over mountain running. That's going to be another trajectory into the sport. So it's really exciting to see the talent that's like coming into the sport right now. So, and then, yeah, we also had, on the women's side of those races, shout them out real quick. We had Meredith Cook on the 50K side, and we had Charlie McKee for the marathon. Aravaipa Racing Team members both came out, so got to shout them out real quick. And let's see, what else do we got? Kendall Mountain Run also. So that one is the classic bar bet, and you've gotten to run that one as well, right?
Couple
and
times.
Also volunteering and working it many times. And
last year I was out there live streaming.
Live streaming last year, and we didn't do the live stream this year with everything else going on, but we saw Noah Williams won with a 140, and now with the up and over course, it's slightly longer. So keep that in mind too. I think the record is like 134 by Walmsley, something like that.
Sounds right.
And on the women's side, we had actually Aravaipa Racing Team, Lindsay McDonald. She won in 2:10. So not as competitive, I think, as in recent years. But it's a great event as always. We had, I didn't see the final count of finishers, 223 finishers this year. So anyways, both classic races, and really a cool way. It's really cool how it's part of the Hardrock Week now.
Yeah.
Lots of Hardrockers were out there. Francois came out to cheer people on. One of his crew guys, Felix, ran Kendall. So it's just good times out there. We had great weather. If anything, it was a bit hot, but cool. Yeah. That's my Aravaipa stories. We gotta start out with that. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've done both of those races, and they're both like, Kendall's fun because it's up and then down, and it's like just pain the whole time, but you hit the top and you hit a 13er and you get that, like, it's hard to describe if you've never been to the San Juans, like why it's so much different than like other mountains and other mountain ranges. Like the only other place that feels like it is the Alps in Europe, where you get to the top and you've got this 360-degree view, every direction, just snow-capped peaks everywhere. And it's really like you can't capture it in pictures. It's hard to describe except seeing it in person.
Yeah.
And like Hardrock is clearly a special race, and these are like races you can do that don't take running 100 miles in some of the most rugged terrain and all that goes with that, but you still get a lot of that experience.
Yeah, the only place I've seen that's kind of similar is the Pyrenees, like in Andorra, is like very similar to the San Juans. But awesome. Well, let's get into Hardrock talk, I guess. That's like the main point of this episode, and I don't want to. Neither of us want to stay up all night. It's already 10 o'clock here, so I know you're working all week, and we're trying to run this race on Friday. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know where I want to start with this, but maybe we can just start with like how did we get into Hardrock? Like, what's your story getting into this race? Like, it's kind of interesting.
I feel like my story is a good one because it kind of includes some of your story. But back in '07, you're like, I'm doing this race, Angeles Crest 100, because I want to sign up for some other race. You want to run it, Nick? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I don't know what this Angeles Crest thing is, but like, I like running ultras now. Like, we were 2 years into running ultras at that point.
Yeah, like I saw the pictures from the 2006 Hardrock. It was by this guy, Klaas Elov or something. He ran the race in '06, and he must have brought a decent camera with him. Like, it wasn't a little. I mean, back then it was like little click disposable instant things, but he had an eye for photography too. He was like running the race and taking pictures of the epic landscape. The little runners are little dots on these incredible vistas. And I was like, yeah, I just got into the sport like a year earlier. I'm like, this is the race I want to do. And we went up in '07.
You did. I didn't.
You didn't go?
No, I think you went, like Robert and Drulas was there, I remember. But I wasn't there.
Because you didn't go out and do trail work and stuff?
No.
Oh, it was just me.
Yeah.
My brain is fried.
So I had no clue about this race. I just knew like you were set on running this race because it was a qualifier for some other race. So I signed up for Angeles Crest with you. Like, we both went out. Like, we went back and forth all day. Like, we both got just totally annihilated. Like, met up at mile, 80. And then finished together barely under 24 hours.
Yep.
And then, we finished. We got the, 24-hour buckle at Angeles Crest. And then you're like, well, now we're qualified for Hardrock. I'm like, I guess I'm qualified. And so I filled out my application and we sent it in together. And then we both got on the wait list, but I was further ahead than you.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I was 44th or something like that. And historically, that was I'm not going to get in. Like, I might be close, but I'm not going to make it.
Well, and back then it was all just one list.
Yeah, one list.
One list.
And it was usually it made upper 30s maybe.
Yeah, did they have the veteran pool? I'm trying to remember how it was even set up because it was so long ago.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was. I feel like it was all just one list for the wait list at least.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we're like, well, we'll go up there, and we're both on the wait list. We probably won't get in, but at least we can check out the race. You had gone the year before, and we're stoked on it. So
that's right. So I went up because I wasn't there for the 2007 race. I went because I knew Roger Rublik, and he invited, he's like, yeah, come on up. We have the hotel. You can just camp out and whatever. And I did I definitely did a couple days of trail work. And I think Kyle and Scott Jurek were out there too, doing trail work on handies. That's funny that you weren't there. I always just assume you were always there, but it's really funny. So yeah, basically doing trail work and marking the course a little bit. But then I think we went to Rocky Point with the family. And so I came back and left before that race. That was the year that Jurek won. Yeah. With he had his soccer injury.
Yeah, and
his ankle blew up and basically, yeah. And so then we came the next summer.
And we came
early.
2 weeks early.
To acclimate and to help mark the course.
And just check it out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we did every single day of course marking and everything we could. I think I did 110 miles in 10 days. And the last day of it, I think was you and me and Kyle Skaggs and James Varner went and did that 10-mile loop on Sultan with the elevator.
That was before you did. That was right, because that was the year because Kyle ran that year. That was the Kyle Skaggs 23-23 year.
Yeah, so we got to do a training run with him 1 week before.
We got to see the absolute insane shape that Kyle Skaggs was in, and I mean, I remember those days sitting at the house with Varner. Talking about living in a shack made out of aluminum cans. Do you remember that conversation? Dear God. But then Kyle would like, he's renting this house in Silverton. He's like working for MSI, and he would get into his like hatchback, drive up to Mullis Pass every night. He had like, the seats were like folded down, or half of it was taken out, and he had like permanently set up like a air mattress in his car, like it was a station wagon or something. Yeah. And he lived at 9,300 feet in Silverton, where this race starts and finishes, and yet he would drive 7 miles. It would take 15 minutes to drive up to Mullis Pass, which is at 11,000 feet. He would sleep there every night for like the 30 days before the race or something.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, the race might start at 9, but the average elevation is more like 11, and he's like gonna do every little thing to get an advantage. That was just the mindset.
Yep.
It's incredible. So anyways, you're moving up the wait list. And when did you actually get in? I don't remember.
It was after like the check-in closed, and like 18 hours before the race starts, and like Dale gets up on like something, and he's like we have like more people in, and he calls my name. And so like I had like half my drop bags like were maybe ready, I think, and the other half weren't, because like I don't know if I'm getting in, like I'm a little too far back, and so I'm like scrambling to get stuff together before they like send drop bags across town. And yeah, like so like not even a day before I get into this race that like 2 weeks before I didn't know what it was. Like over the course of all those course markings, like I'm like listening to all the Hardrock veterans, like all the insane stories of like the storms and the hallucinations. Like John DeWalt's telling me how he like sat down at the last river crossing one year and like looks up at the clouds and starts watching movies. It's just like,
because he's so delirious.
Yeah,
he's
so
out there
delirious
for like 46 hours.
I'd never heard of this before. I'm like, I don't know what happens out there, but the only goal that I can have is don't die. And so like that was my strategy going into the race, totally unprepared for this thing, was don't die. My training leading up to it, other than the course marking, was like I look back, it was like 30 miles a week. Like the majority of the miles were on like Arizona canals in Phoenix at 1,000 feet.
What time did you run that first year? Do you remember?
Yeah, 31:07.
Dude, see, I could. If you did that with that training, boom, we could do 31:07.
Yeah. But the important thing, like that, my whole strategy was I walked every up, I walked every flat, and then the downs I just tried to minimize damage. Like zero of that had to do with trying to get anywhere fast.
When that was what, 5th place?
5th place.
That's incredible. That's awesome. So that's kind of your introduction to Hardrock. Like you just hit the lottery right away. Yeah. Granted, it was a lot easier to get into this race back then.
It's like right when it was starting to blow up. So like you might get in off the wait list the first year. If you're up
which
there.
You did. And like, I mean, we both applied that first year in 2008. You got in the day before, and then I forget me the next year. I forget if I got in or if I got in off the wait list like early or something, but I might have just got drawn. I don't really remember, but yeah, we got in like the first 2 years. So yeah, definitely, we found it at the right time, just in our careers, running careers, to kind of get on this path.
How old was I? What was it, 2008? So I think I was 20 years old, because I think I wasn't old. Yeah, because I was going to do Leadville that year, and you had to be 21 to sign up. And like it was like comical to me, because I finished Hardrock, but I was not old enough to apply for Leadville.
For Leadville. Oh yeah, Leadville was really hardcore back then in terms of some of their rules, for sure.
Yeah.
And Western States had 18, so.
Yeah, because I was definitely the youngest Hardrock finisher then. Dakota then became the youngest by a couple months when he finished, and now like I don't know if anyone will ever be younger, just because it's so hard to get in.
Oh yeah, well no, I think Aid Station Fireball, which by the way, Aid Station Fireball, I'm sorry that your messages got deleted. We have this Nightbot on right now, and I will see why. I don't know why it deleted you. I'll try and look into that, but I'm sorry. I might be able to turn that off temporarily. But yeah, I think it was Aid Station Fireball was like listing off all these stats about Hardrock over the years, and we're both in the top 10 youngest finishers. Like even I am doing it in 2008. I think I was like 24 or something. Anyways, let's see if I can turn. Oh, posting in all caps might get you in timeout. I am sorry. So, but he said DeWalt guaranteed tough. And we love John DeWalt. I was just talking with Billy Simpson about John. I miss that guy. Incredible.
For those of you who don't know him, he was like one of the oldest hard rockers. I think, was he 73 when he
I think he is the oldest finisher,
Yeah.
like 73 years old.
And he's just this super old school runner and like very big personality and some like, I think the kind of ways that like make me love ultra running more and more. Like he loved butter sandwiches. Was one of his favorite things during a race. It just get some butter sandwich.
Butter on white bread. Butter sandwich.
Yeah, but just
So
tough
great.
as nails, like unbelievable.
Oh yeah, here we go. We got 8 Station Fireball. Nick and Dakota are the youngest ever finishers. And like you said, that might hold true because you'd have to get real lucky to get in there.
Yeah, just to get a qualifier at a young age,
Sure.
much less get drawn.
We'll keep dropping those questions in the chat. We'll keep getting to them. So yeah, that's kind of the start to our Hard Rock journey. And then you just got like super lucky in the lottery. I feel like you were just getting in every year.
Yeah,
it seemed
2008, 2011, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, yeah.
Okay, so it took a little bit.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a couple years, but then you just like got in
Yeah.
a bunch of years in a row to get that 5 in.
Yeah, and then once I got to 17, I didn't apply in 2018 because I figured like...
You do
Well,
5.
The hard part is, I was talking to someone recently about this, it's like, and it's kind of good they're starting to combine the pools again because this helps, like, once you start getting enough finishes, then like if you don't do it, you're not really giving a spot. You're just giving a spot to someone else who's done it before. Because like I even like as much as I love and would like to do this race every year, I also would love to give my spot to someone
That's
like,
never had a chance.
Yeah.
But it's really just going to go to like Blake Wood again or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, another 5-time finisher, which now it can go to another finisher, just not to a never been.
Well, what's happening with the veteran pool, it's like they're all getting in. Like there's only one person left on the veteran wait list this year. And I just got my veteran status last year and I got in again. So it's almost guaranteed. And that's why they just announced they're changing the lottery up. If you haven't seen that, basically just going to be finishers and non-finishers, essentially 2 buckets.
Yeah.
So probably a good thing. And I don't know, we're not going to get probably too much into the whole law. Like, we could talk probably for hours on like, you know, the fairness and the lottery and stuff. So we're not going to focus on that on this conversation, but I think they're making changes and adapting, and you know, it takes time, especially it's a nonprofit, it's the committees and like boards, and like sometimes that just takes time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are removing the whole veteran thing, so at least the finishers pool will hopefully like allow that to kind of shuffle the deck a little bit more. And then if they're able to like grow the number of people that have never run it before and get some more people into that pot, that will help as well. So to kind of balance things out. So
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Good. Dude, 8 Station Fireball is on top of it. He says right here, there was an 18-year-old starter in 2007, James Rublick, who dropped at Sherman as per the Hard Rock site. Yep. Jimmy Rublick, Roger Rublick's son.
Director of the Javelin 100 in the past.
Yep. So he got into the sport pretty young, when he was like a young teenager, and he was like following in his dad's footsteps. He ran the Bear 100, I think at 14 or 15, but might have gone a little too much into it. I just remember him always like destroying his knees and like always complaining about that.
Yeah.
And then like he doesn't do it anymore. Like it's been actually a long time, probably since then.
Yeah, because he was like sleeping in the basement of the Wyman and got, I think, like mold.
Well, they were sleeping in the altitude tent in the basement. I was also sleeping in the altitude in Silverton, I think like in 2010.
Yeah.
In between, I think, after Western States, but before Grand Mesa 100. There's like so many tales we could tell about Silverton living and over the last like 15 years. It's great. Yeah. Who does that? Who sleeps in an altitude tent at 9,000 feet? Roger Rublick. And when you're friends with Roger Rublick, you do the same thing as well. So, I don't know. That was a good find. Like, no one else in this chat would see that. Okay, so yeah, you got your 5 finishes by when? 2017?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that was my third? What years did I do it? 9, 13, 15, 17. So that was my 4th. But then with all the cancellations with like COVID and the avalanches, I got my 5th last year. And for me, kind of like my little backstory this year is like I've got 5 finishes as a veteran, but they're all the same direction. So I've only gotten in the odd numbered years. I've applied every year since 2008. And so like, I don't know, it's kind of funny that like say you're not a true hard rocker until you run both directions, whatever. I think it's funny. You know, it's a unique part of this race that you switch directions. Not a lot of races do that are like a single loop. So it's kind of cool. People are always debating which one's harder, which one's easier. I will ask you, since I've only paced in that direction. I paced you multiple times and like Dom Grossman, some other people. What is your favorite direction? Are you like really looking forward to this year? Is this your more favorite one? And why?
I look forward to this direction. I don't know because of everything else if I'm looking forward to this year. Like I would love to be fit this direction, which I've never really been, because this plays to all my strengths. Like the long roads are like, that's like the road runner, downhill runner. Like you can go just make time there.
So there's long gradual downhill roads on this section. So what, they'd be Campered Road into Ouray, and then it would be what, engineered down to Grouse or Animus Forks. Are there other ones, or is that the big two?
The end.
Oh, the end also. Yeah, that's
and even like Burroughs Park.
Okay, yeah, Burroughs Park would be a downhill.
Like, that always feels slow, but if I came in fit, I would smash that thing.
Yeah, because it's slightly downhill.
Yeah. And it feels grindy because it's middle of the night, but you could theoretically make so much time on that thing.
Interesting. Oh, wow. So there's really like 4 of them.
Yeah. And then like Pole Creek late in the race can also like, you can lose so much time there just like dragging, or you could light that thing up and make up so much time too.
Okay.
So it's just so runnable the second half and all the downhills that it feels like more of the runner's course.
Yeah.
Versus like the other way, you've got to be good on those things, the reverse, like grinding long up
you have
hills.
to run up those hills basically at altitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you get less excuses to hike.
Nice.
If you're trying to perform at like the, like mid 20 hour range, like you're going to be needing to run more and more of those things, which is brutal.
Yep. We do have a question here from Deb Runs Far. What years were your favorite hard rock races?
I mean, 2008 is very memorable for me because it was like so unexpected that like the whole first day I just took it as easy as possible and just like enjoyed the experience out there. The night was brutal, but then like you were with me, like the sun came up and I'm like, I don't know how, but I feel good. And I just started lighting it up. Like I beat Kyle Skagg's course record splits handily on the last like 15 miles.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, you were feeling good on 30-mile canal running.
Yeah.
Granted, he was like redlining it and spent 0 minutes in aid stations the whole race basically.
And also like in the dark when I was in the light, it definitely there's reasons why, but still
and
like
you were like walking everything up until you blitzed the last 15.
Correct.
So.
But like still that was an unexpected experience. Right. So like that one sticks out. And then 2017 where like I was in the best shape I've done hard rock in. And I really I did the same thing. I smashed the end. I was like catching people that were so far in front of me. I was running like 6-minute pace the last couple miles.
Nice.
Like really had a fun finish there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would say the 2 that stand out the most for me, I feel like I've had mostly just bad hard rocks like across the board. I mean, hands down 2013 is my best or like my most memorable. I went in the best shape of my life, I think. Maybe even still to this day, possibly. Who knows? But incredible training block. I was like up in Silverton, I think for 4 weeks or 5 weeks. I was doing like Kyle Skaggs style stuff where I would literally drive my truck to the top of Kendall Mountain and sleep at the Notch and just like hang out there for like 5 hours after I wake up reading books and just... I did a training run on every single inch of the Hard Rock course in the direction of that year. And I either did it point to point or I would like jog up in reverse and then I would blitz down like in the proper like direction. And I ran every single segment fast and it like with a reckless abandon. And it got me conditioned to be like, I'm not here at Hard Rock to slog. I'm here, like, I know how fast it's possible to run this section. And so, like, I kind of knew what that was going to be like for race day. And it does come in handy later on when I got there because, so anyways, like, I was convinced I could run a sub 24 that year, which is like so stupid to say because I think only Kyle had done that. Or maybe, I don't know, did Killian run by that point in time?
I don't think he had.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It was too many dang years. But yeah, I was in great shape. I had run, 3 weeks before race day, I did a run from the start to Ouray at mile 57. And I like jogged it easy in like 13 hours, which would have put me like in third place. And I was like, that was nothing. And then like I did a speed workout, and like I think 3 days later I went from Ouray to Telluride in 3:10, which was like 30 minutes faster than like the course record for that segment.
Yeah, that's fast.
I mean, I basically ran all the way up Camp Bird Road like every step. Yeah. And then I like did what we always do from Grand Swap down to town. I just like hammered the crap out of it. And I like took my shoes off, my mooshes, and just like put my feet in the river. And I was like, all right, I think I'm in pretty good shape here. Like I had confidence going in, and that I based my like kind of, I could run 24 hours based upon all those training runs. I start to add up every single section I did, and I'm like, well, I ran that so easy, like I could probably push that more, and then I know I can hammer all these sections and like hike up and hammer down. So anyways, I ended up getting sick early on in the race, climbing up Handy's Peak. I was in 7th place, started puking, couldn't keep any water or food down, got into Grouse Gulch on fumes. I was like 2 hours overdue where I should have been, and I spent 4 hours lying on a cot. So I was 6 hours probably at least not moving on the course. But then when I got up, and you were in the race that year as well, right? Yeah. So you were,
because I passed you going up Handy's while you were kicking your brains out.
Yeah. Yeah. It was gross. So I got up after 6 hours not moving, and I was like way back in 109th place. And I got up, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, and I felt like I hadn't run a step yet. And I still had all that fitness I was talking about. And so I just blitzed the course. Up until last year, it was like the fastest second half of the race. I think both Dylan, Bowman, and Francois now have faster times, which is expected. But yeah, I basically it was super fun. I mean, passing 95 people to finish 14th in 31 hours was really great. And it felt effortless. It's hard to describe what I experienced out there. You've probably experienced it in different races like that. But I was jogging up Camp Bird Road during the race that year. I could push as hard as I wanted to on the uphills, and I could bomb every downhill. I could run as hard as I wanted to, as fast as I wanted to, and my legs would instantly recover for the next climb. So it was just fun.
Yeah.
But a close second would be 2017, I think, because I got to link up with Nick and James and Anthony, and it was just friends out there having a good time. And overall, that race went pretty well for me, through and through. I mean, I think I didn't have the best fitness, but I ran 29 hours.
Yeah, because we were together at 80 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, we were hammering it into Telluride together.
Yeah, I knew that I dropped you because I was hammering, and then suddenly you're jogging into Telluride with me. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah. I think they're bored of our stories because they're asking about Badwater right now in the chat. So that's all good. So going into this year, I guess we'll kind of move this conversation along. You got in from the get-go this year. Yeah. And you hadn't applied in a couple years?
No.
Okay. So you wanted to come back. Why'd you want to come back?
It's just time. I kind of stopped at 2017 because I'd run it so many years. I needed to do something different. I decided to go after the 24-hour, not really knowing what my goal was. And clearly that culminated over 5 years to a very big goal for me. So
checking that off, you're let's maybe go back to Hardrock, see what you can do here.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I was I finished Desert Solstice, broke the American record, and I'm all right, go smash some more stuff, go have fun at Hardrock and be the fittest I've ever been. And then it's just been an understandable roller coaster of, I took a lot out of my body. It's been struggling to recover. I probably came back too quick even on top of that. And so I've just been up and down injured. So, yeah, now I want to have fun. I want to make sure I stay healthy and yeah, just go have a good time out there.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to apply. I mean, I just always apply, but I wanted to come back and hopefully run it in the opposite direction, become a true hard rocker. So I was 6th on the veteran wait list this year, which honestly, I wrote it off. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like thinking with only 25 spots and now with the men and women splits, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get pulled. I think those veterans are going to keep those spots. Maybe it'll move 1 or 2 spots. But yeah, 13 days before the race, I got the call from Dale. So here I am, working on like a condensed training program. We were talking about it. So I think I have more miles than I did last year, at least going in this year. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, with your injury and me kind of coming in a little bit undertrained, hopefully we'll spend some miles out there together.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be good. We'll pop into the chat and hang out for a little bit longer, but I don't want to stay up too much late. It's too much longer. I need to start to get some sleep. So, all right. Tom Rogazinski. Shout out to Tom. He's been out to the Silverton 1000 a bunch of times, out to Cocodona. Thanks for chiming in here. So, I mean, the hailstorm was pretty epic that we were in 2017 up on Pole Creek.
Yep.
Do you have any other memorable weather ones?
Was it 2013? Lauren was pacing me, and I was going up towards Putnam, the last climb in the race, and like there's all those false steps, and like we were almost to the top of the last one, and the storm starts rolling in, and I'm just like, you just sigh at that point because you're so tired. And you have to go backwards on the course, and it's the last thing you want to do.
So you guys had to go down to get shelter?
Yeah, because we were above tree line, and like
it was like lightning.
You just don't want. Yeah, it was lightning. You don't want to mess with that. That's
and it's
the thing.
Super exposed up there. Yeah. There's nothing.
And so like we not only go back down, but then you like go into the lightning stands, and like I'm cramping up, and I'm going hypothermic, and like you're just like, it's so terrible to be that, like there's nothing you can do though. Like that's the response. You've got to be safe out there. Like you don't want to mess with it. So, like, it wasn't even the worst storm, but it's just a terrible feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember too many other bad ones. All right, we got one from Deb Runs Far here. She asks, Pacers or no Pacers this year?
So, I have Pacers. So, my pacing team, I've been making friends in Telluride. So, Lindsay and Ryan, so both of them ran. So, Ryan Becker was second at the marathon.
The marathon this year, yep.
And then Lindsay ran it as well. And apparently they saw us last year when I was pacing you. They remembered you. And I now remember that we saw a couple up there, up Bear Creek out of Telluride, when we were like running into a storm and they were coming down.
Okay.
So yeah, they're both pacing me. Lindsay's pacing the first stretch, Ryan's pacing the last stretch. And then the middle, the long, like 33, Peter Mortimer, our, Aravaipa racing team for Flagstaff. He's going the long haul through the night with me.
Sweet. I don't have any Pacers lined up as of yet. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Like, I'm hoping to be with Nick quite a bit, so maybe I'll kind of, leash off of him. But I will say, and I'll just throw this out publicly because I think it's hilarious. We were just talking about this. If Willie's out there and he wants to pace, open-ended invite, because I think that would be super cool. He's friends with, I think,
Ryan
and Lindsay, and we were all hanging out this weekend. So I don't know what he's doing or if he's going to be out at the race, but definitely that would be fun to get that guy out there and kind of exposed to Hardrock, because my goal is to get him to Black Canyon. So I'm putting it out there in the world.
So I will say, like, Hardrock does have its share of alcohol in the course as well. And
alcohol.
Willie, well, like it'll be up on Virginia's. At Kroger's
that's
Canteen.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
And then I feel like there's always something else.
There used to be. Well, what was it? Someone used to go up to Engineer with like.
Yeah.
Was that Oh my God! Was that Bachani that would go up there?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But so Willie, sandwiched between his marathon course record and his win at the Rundala, the 4th of July race up the ski slope. He handily won my beer mile, 4th of July Telluride, in 7 flat. So he has experience there.
Perfect. That's awesome. did you find out if heat training will help you with acclimating to the altitude? I talked about this, and you'll probably be able to chime in on this, like whether or not heat training or being acclimated to the heat can be helpful at altitude.
Yeah, like I have a strong opinion that it definitely is. It's not a full substitute, but every year that I've come in crazy heat trained and I pop up to altitude, I'm shocked how little I feel the altitude. I think while it's not the same physiological response by any means, it's stressing your body in a really compromising way that like gets it ready to be compromised. And so I think it overall helps, even though it's not the specificity you want, like if you could just do altitude.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's like the altitude and the pressures and things like that are different. And like, if you're training at altitude, you're going to get that red blood cell count up and things like that. But like, if you're stressing your body with the heat, I think it could be helpful for sure. I think in 2013, I was super well heat trained as well. I remember like right before I came up, I was like just a beast out there in the heat. So I think I'm decent this year. So for Hardrock, are you doing more vert or mileage for training? Well, this year for me, I have not done vert training. So I think I just did my biggest week since Cocodona when I was filming. I ran 90 miles that week, but I haven't seen anything north of 40 in a while. I did 55 with like 8,000 feet this last week, and 5,000 of that was on my long run. So
yeah, like PRP seemed to have worked, so I finally have gotten a little bit of vert in the last 2 weeks, but like I've had zero vert for like months, so or mileage. It's all been low.
Did you see, talking about pacers, did you see Killian posting on like LinkedIn and there's a job opening on normal for a pacer?
I saw your trail talk
where
Bryce was signing up for it.
So they actually picked the person. It's some woman, I think out of Colorado or something.
Okay.
So I don't know. They announced it on his Instagram, so they found one.
Maybe you should have been doing that.
No, definitely not going to be doing that. So yeah, if you want to check that out, I think he just posted it just a little bit ago, so you can check that out. Let's see here. Do you know any big names that will be at Hardrock pacing, not racing? And he chimes in here that Zach Miller is going to be pacing Maggie. I don't know offhand, but I'm sure there will be a ton of people. Like Hardrock is just one of those events that it's like a must-be-at event for a lot of us, whether or not we get in or not. It's like we're going to come out and be part of the Camp Hardrock, or we're going to work an aid station, or we're going to pace a friend, or whatever. I'm going to film the race. I don't know. It just attracts people to come out. Badwater 135 happening right now. Any interest?
I have interest, but I haven't checked on it yet. Okay. That's a race I should probably run. It would be like the culmination of every strength I have.
Yeah, I mean, you got a great place to train for it in Phoenix.
Yeah, but like I'm good at the roads. I'm good at the heat.
Yes.
I'm good at the mountains.
And you've been out there before.
I'm really good at like a 24-hour length race.
Nice.
So
we've both been out there before, pacing and crewing, so we know what it's like. I do got to say, John Herzog from Yuma is inviting us to come on out and hit up their 50K course out there. We'll have to take a road trip down there. They got some trails down there in Yuma now. So,
all right.
We're going to wrap it up here. I think it's probably about time. Any last questions, let us know. I was trying to think if I wanted to ask you anything else, or do you have any other thoughts going into this year's race? Or it's an exciting year, I will say. Like Killian, Francois, I wish we had Jim running. I mean, it's cool he's going after UTMB, but I would love to see that guy run Hardrock. That excites me way more than him winning UTMB, to be honest.
Courtney is likely to smash it, and then you've got your
Maggie also.
Yeah, you've got your deep fields behind that. Like Jeff Browning is gonna.
John Kelly is a really interesting one.
Oh yeah,
this is his first 100-mile race. Like he hasn't done 100 yet.
Yeah.
Besides Barkley, so it's kind of cool, kind of interesting.
Yeah. One last thing I'll say.
Yeah.
The course is longer this year, like 2 miles longer than I think 2 times ago.
Than the last time they ran this direction.
Yeah. Which I think a lot of runners will not be very happy about late in the race.
Especially the folks that are like 47, 45 is like
there's no extra time. They changed some intermediate cutoffs, but it's still 48-hour overall cutoff, and you have 2 extra miles. That's kind of like when they had to do the diversion with Bridal Veil.
Didn't they have it like 4 miles long one year, or was it just 2?
I think it was just 2.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can't find anywhere to shave it down, but it varies a lot year to year, actually. There's quite a few little changes, but one of the changes was in last year over in the Pole Creek section.
Yeah.
There was like a Colorado Trail little reroute thing, and then there's a new one. They had to move the Pole Creek aid station. Did you see that?
Yeah, and they see another.
And so that adds a little bit because they took out this kind of cross-country section. And that's why the other one changed too in Pole Creek. There was that other cross-country, and now you're kind of taking a longer way on like an established trail. And then we have an entire aid station has moved this year, our second one. Grouse Gulch is now called Animus Forks Aid Station. It's moved up the hill, and you have to run about a mile longer there through the ghost town of Animus Forks, which you did in 2008 by accident.
Yeah.
And still got 5th.
In the middle of the night.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys have never been out to Hardrock, it's typically, especially back in the day, purposefully sparsely marked. Where like sometimes they, shout out Charlie Thorne, puts the flag in the ground, walks up the trail and looks back and is like thinking that he put too many markers, so he goes back and takes one out because he's like, we don't need that one.
Yeah, his goal is to put out less every single year.
That's right. D-Hawk looked like it was clear up to Handy's. A report on trail conditions. Oh, like snow wise, I think there's like little to no snow. I don't know if you've been up to Virginia's.
I haven't. Oh, I was up there. There was like a tiny patch down below on the north side, but it wasn't even on the course.
Oh, and that's the spot that will be like the last snow to hold on the course, pretty much, is Virginia's.
Yeah,
right?
it should be like pretty much
snow free,
probably 100% clear.
You probably won't have to set foot on snow this year.
Yeah, although it could be very rainy, which might not be fun.
That is true. So they are predicting like we've had a little bit of a dry spell the last couple of weeks. Probably it's dried out, but it's supposed to be coming back in, I think, starting tomorrow, and like heavy rains potentially. We might get hammered out there. So I'll be bringing the waterproof GoPro this year. We'll just make sure I have the right case to keep it nice and dry. So I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you, Nick, for your time. We're gonna both get some rest. If you guys want to follow along, there will be like the live tracking on Hardrock. We might have some people like sharing some stuff on the Aravaipa channel. Otherwise, we'll bring the GoPro and share some stories afterwards. We might have to do a little post-race chit-chat, but thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Trail Talk, and we'll see you next week. I'll be back in the studio in Phoenix, and we'll do like a proper Hardrock recap show. We'd love to, get all of your guys' thoughts as well, and I don't know, maybe you think the rain's going to slow down the field. It's got to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be sloppier,
it's
muddy.
It's not going to speed you up.
No, definitely. So I was thinking like with the fields assembled, like we're definitely going to see course records, but now with like the longer course and the potential sloppy, rainy conditions, we could see some, probably not some fast times. I don't know. Fast times, but maybe not that fast.
Depends where you get hit is the thing.
Definitely.
All right.
Right on. So I guess we'll